It was a big week for cars, wasn't it? Like, first of all, we had Lamborghini's Countach, whatever, leak and then get officially announced like 3 minutes later. That was a little bit odd. And then we had Acura do a teaser for what is supposed to be the new Integra, which nobody knows what that car is or will be. All they got is a name, Integra, which is fine by me. They shouldn't have stopped making that car in the first place. And then we had the new Z finally get revealed, which of course is just like a much needed refresh of that old 370Z chassis with a new engine in it, the 3-liter V6 putting out 400 horsepower. That should be plenty for that car. And I don't really have any problems with them continuing to use that old chassis too. Like, honestly, I think more automakers should get in that kind of game instead of like, if the choice is between like killing a sports car platform or just refreshing it, and you can still pass crash safety and all that, like totally just go for that. And I feel like the aftermarket and the motorsport scene, drifting, time attack, it's all going to be on that car day one because, all of the old chassis parts are probably going to bolt onto that thing with hardly any modifications or tweaking. So good for them. As for the Lamborghini, as soon as that thing was shown off, just million comments. Oh, this is boring. I don't like this. This isn't like the Egoista or the Centenario, the Veneno. It's not like those things, and I am so thankful that it's not like those things because I hated every single one of those cars. Those things are so ugly. Like practically every Lamborghini of the last decade, except for like the base Aventador and the base Huracan, has been a complete disaster. Just like blades on blades on blades, over designed garbage, and I'm not into it. This new Countach I'm much more into. Like, it's it has the cues you would expect from the original car, but it also has some cues that look like they came from like the Diablo and from like the first generation Murcielago, a little bit of like Gallardo in there even. It's like a clean slate, like they practically threw away the last decade and just reached into the pool to get everything that was before that. And once again, like I am completely fine by that from my standpoint. But yeah, when you put all of those elements together, it has a vibe that I really dig because it seems like this almost could have been a concept in the 80s. Like if they had drawn up this concept in the 80s and was like, this is what a car in 2021 or 2020 is going to look like. I kind of dig that vibe, retro future kind of style. And then the Countach, the Countach also has the hybrid system out of whatever their last limited edition model was called, which has like a tiny little electric motor that isn't even battery powered. It's just like runs off of the main engine and makes like 40 horsepower. So I don't really understand the point of that hybrid system. It's like they're just checking a little box there, but it might be interesting. At the end of the day, like, who even cares about my opinion on a Lamborghini? Because I don't own one. I doubt I will ever have the means in my lifetime to own one. I am not a terrible Saudi oligarch. So, you should probably take their opinion on what it looks like. As for the Integra, I mean, there's not much to say because they haven't given any information. There was like a badge and maybe a headlight. But if I'm gonna guess completely, I think it would be based on the upcoming Civic, the 2022 Civic, because they have the old ILX chassis, and that's only available in sedan. But that is based off the old like 2012 Civic. So that chassis is so old at this point. So I imagine they would move it up to the current chassis. In that ILX, you also do get a naturally aspirated K24, which is like one of the last cars that still uses that thing. But in the current ILX, they dropped the 6-speed manual, and I think it's a 7-speed dual clutch now you can only get in that car. Now, for the new Integra, I would love some naturally aspirated engines, but they're probably going to move completely over to the 2-liter turbo, just as they've done with the Civic, and maybe a 1.8-liter turbo for the base model. I imagine you're going to have either the choice of that dual clutch, the 7-speed, or a 6-speed manual, if they do like a Type S or a Type R model. Hopefully they don't use too many CVTs on that thing, you know. And of course, the worst possible scenario is that they go the Mitsubishi route and they slap the Integra badge onto whatever mid-size crossover. But I'm not even going to entertain that thought because I just can't. I can't hurt twice like that. Overall, I imagine it's going to be coupe or sedan, maybe hatchback, all three, maybe just one of those, based off of the upcoming Civic. Probably going to go to 2-liter turbo. Maybe if we really keep our fingers crossed, it'll have a K24 in one of those packages with a 6-speed manual. But who can say really? Overall, I'm digging these three cars. I'm excited for more information on them and see what they can do down the line. But you can really tell that like this year is kind of the point where the nostalgia cycle is coming around. It's like, oh, just what old names do we have? Release it. And you can kind of see that with the rebadged Supra as well. Just like cashing in on what people liked before, and pretty much every company in every industry is going to try and fall back on that at some point. You can't really fault them for it. But you kind of have to judge these things based on what they are as a standalone model, and not based on what name is stamped onto them, which I don't have any problem with really, because I don't really get wrapped up in that whole nostalgia marketing thing, except when I need to buy a little tiny Super Nintendo and then I drop $80 on that. But that's the only time. So let me know what you think about those. Subscribe, all that. Check me out on whatever website. Yeah, my main website I actually redesigned, so check that out. It has like cool photos on it. It has all my articles on it. It's not ugly anymore, so check that out. Thank you.